Now for the latest on Chris Cuomo and Don Lemon. Patrick Bet-David's Valuetainment announced this week that veteran news anchor Chris Cuomo would be joining their team as a talent partner. And ironically, at the same time, Don Lemon somehow loses his partnership deal with X. But first, I just want to remind you guys of the super cringe we all used to feel watching their fake news segments. Take a look.
I'm glad you mentioned about being shot by cops because you cannot compare this, and I'm sick of people comparing. You can't compare what happened this summer to what happened at the Capitol. It's two different things. One was built on people, on racial justice, on criminal justice, right? On reform, on police not beating up or not or police treating people of color differently than they do whites. Okay, that is not a lie. Those are facts. Go look at them. What happened at the Capitol on Wednesday was built on a lie perpetrated by the president and the people who support him. So just on that merit, if you want to call it, it's not comparable. Those things are not comparable, so they should stop doing that and stop this whataboutism or what happened with this. No one has ever gone this far in saying that an election was illegitimate with all the evidence we have that this election was legitimate. Right. So I don't understand, why Ken Cuccinelli and all these people keep going. If the president, and he says, I can't imagine.
In a million years.
In a million years.
It just happened last week.
It just happened last week. If he can't imagine it, then the president should come out and say, stop it with the talk about the Capitals, right? The attacks and the protests on the Capitals. There's nothing to protest. It was a legitimate election. Stop it with saying the election was fair and square. There's nothing to protest. Everyone go home. Don't come out and protest. Don't come out and riot. You shouldn't have done what you did on Wednesday. We're against that. This is not what this movement is about. Has he said all that? No, he didn't. He didn't tell people not to come out.
Nope.
So if he can't imagine a million years, good luck with what happened.
Now, when it comes to Chris Cuomo and Valuetainment, my immediate reaction was, why? I guess we all should have seen it coming considering the fact that he was recently on the show with Candace Owens. But again, why does Valuetainment need Chris Cuomo? And based on their viewership, who even likes the guy? I mean, those are all honest questions. Come on now, this is the same guy who pushed election fraud and Russia, and the mostly peaceful protests with the BLM riots. You remember that? Even J6 and the COVID jab, and told you to wear a mask while not doing it himself. And this is somehow their first round draft pick? I just don't get it. I mean, it took me about a year to stomach Adam Sosnick. Now you bring in Chris Cuomo? Now, I knew I wouldn't be the only one who felt this way. Tim Pool of Timcast actually went on X and he posted this, saying, huge F up. Chris Cuomo faked being in COVID lockdown. His brother is a murderer. No redemption arc. PBD goes CNN is very disappointing. And to me, he's right. But Bet-David replied saying this, Tim, I trust capitalism. One of these days, the market will wake up and realize what our vision was all along. I'm extremely comfortable being misunderstood before the market validates our vision. I respect your impatience with our vision. In the meantime, keep kicking ass. I.e., future looks bright. I have to say, I respect PBD, and if he thinks that Cuomo offers some value, then I respect his decision. But like with Adam, it may take me a year or two to get there. Now, I find it rather interesting that in the same week, Chris and Don are trending at the same time, because Don Lemon announced his partnership with X back at the beginning of the year. And oddly enough, he was welcomed to the platform with open arms by Elon and Tucker Carlson. Tucker even greeted him by saying, congratulations, it's a new world, welcome. And even in Don's announcement, he states that X is the biggest space for free speech in the world. And now more than ever, we need a place for honest debate and discussion without the hall monitors. And so I find it funny because Don's first interview was with Elon Musk. And this is part of what happened. Take a look.
I don't have to answer questions from reporters. Don, the only reason I'm doing this interview is because you're on the X platform and you asked for it. Otherwise, I would not do this interview.
So after this interview, Elon Musk cancels Don's partnership with X. And in true Don fashion, Don runs to the hall monitors at CNN and tells them that Elon's rhetoric is offensive and it's responsible for mass shootings. Now, this is the same guy who says he cares so much about free speech. Take a listen.
Joining me exclusively out front is Don Lemon. So Don, you do this 90-minute-long interview with Musk. You sit down with him. This is the culmination. He had actively courted you to come on. One of his tweets, have you considered doing your show on this platform? Maybe worth a try. Audience is much bigger. It had been public. Then you had reached a deal. I'll talk about that later. Then he texts 24 hours after this 90-minute-long interview, which is the first of your show launching. He says, contract is canceled. What happened?
Yeah. First of all, it's good to see you, Aaron. Thank you for having me on. That's a good question for Elon Musk, quite frankly, what happened. I don't know. As I said in my statement, I felt really good about the interview. I said to him as we were doing the interview, and it was tense at moments, but you've been involved in tense interviews. Yep. I said to him, I think it's good that people see folks like you and I who have different worldviews come together and talk, as he says, have free speech. Free speech is only important when someone you don't like, or I would say someone who doesn't have your same point of view, or someone is, if they're allowed to speak freely and to say their point of view. Apparently that doesn't matter to Elon Musk. It's just for maybe talking points for him or rhetoric, because it doesn't seem to matter when it's about him, questions about him from people like me.
Illuminating in so many ways. All right, I have two things I want to ask you about that, Don. First, the great replacement theory. Right. As you bring it up, he has tweeted, a tweet he shared, increasing illegals boost Dem voting power, causing them to recruit more. If Dems win President, House, and Senate, they'll grant citizenship to all illegals, and America will become a permanent one-party deep socialist state. Right? He has gone there directly. How much does he stand by these ideas?
Well, he didn't quite seem to understand that he did, originally he did that with Jewish people, sort of a great replacement theory thing that he did with Jewish people, and he got in trouble when he had to go to Auschwitz and answer questions and apologize and go with Ben Shapiro. But he doesn't understand that sort of rhetoric that he talks about, the great replacement theory and migrant invasion, that's what radicalized shooters use in their manifestos, those exact words. The people who go and shoot up people, whether they be Latino people who live in Texas or black people who are in a supermarket in Buffalo, or Jewish people who are worshiping, those people use the same rhetoric, that they are tropes, that they're either racist for Latinos or black people or for Jewish people. And I wanted to know if he felt any responsibility as someone who has one of the largest social media and information platforms in the world.
250 million people.
250 million people. I think it's 455 or 500 million users a week. And it doesn't seem that he feels that he has any responsibility with that, because he seemed really averse to facts.
Now, that clip that you saw of the interview with Elon is just a teaser from his show, which airs on Monday, which to me says the whole thing is a ploy to get you to watch. The guy is desperate. Nobody cares to watch his show, and it's mostly because of drama like this, which is the same reason why he got fired from CNN in the first place. We all remember what took place with him and Vivek. But in case you forgot, take a look.
The part that I find insulting is when you say today black Americans don't have those rights after we have gone through civil rights revolution in this country.
You are sitting here telling an African American about the rights and what you find insulting about the way I live, the skin I live in every day.
Here's where you and I have a different point of view.
Black and white that black people don't have in this country, and that black people do have.
Well, here's where you and I have a different point of view. I think we should be able to express our views regardless of the color of our skin. We should have this debate.
I'm not saying you
without me regarding you as a black man,
but
me regarding you as a fellow citizen. That's what I think.
Here, whatever ethnicity you are, explaining to me
whatever ethnicity
about
I'm,
what it's like to be black.
Whatever
in America.
ethnicity I'm, I'll tell you what I am. I'm an Indian American. I'm proud of it. But I think we should have this debate. Black, white doesn't matter.
I think we should have this
on
debate.
The content of the ideas.
If you're going to do it, you should do it in an honest way and in a fair way. And what you're doing is not an honest and fair way. Okay? We appreciate you coming on.
With due respect, Don, I look forward to continuing that conversation.
Thank you. The conversation.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you, Pop.
Yeah, so when it comes to Don, things pretty much turned out as we expected. And as for Cuomo, all I can do is hope that PBD has a 90-day review in that contract. So did you like that video? Well, if you did, you can always find more like it here. And as always, stay tuned for more news, culture, and politics here on Totally Based.